Imagine being lucky enough to get Brendan Fraser from a rental family service. Hey everybody, welcome to Mainly Movies. As part of my coverage of TIFF50, the 2025 Toronto International Film Festival, today I'm going to be talking about the 2025 comedy drama Rental Family, which will be released in theaters on November 21st. If you're new here, please consider subscribing for a variety of movie-related content, like reviews, rank lists, and recommendations. All my reviews include a breakdown of the pros and cons, my rating, and even some tailored film recommendations. So be sure to watch through to the end of this video for all of that extra content. Rental Family stars Brendan Fraser, Takehiro Hira, and Mari Yamamoto, and was directed by Hikari. It tells the story of a lonely American actor living in Japan who finds surprising connections after beginning work at a rental family service. Movies are like meals. They can be made up of a variety of different ingredients, can be more or less appropriate for a given scenario, and can, of course, be something that you find yourself craving every now and then. Some movies are four-course meals to slowly savor and appreciate. Others are cheesy, greasy fast food. Not particularly good, but easy to eat and satisfying enough in the moment. Some are buttery popcorn, some are just a glass of water, but others are dessert. There are the candy movies, the ones that are just pure headache-inducing, sicky sweet sugar that leaves you buzzing from a sugar rush with a cloying taste in your mouth. But other dessert movies are a bit more substantial. They're satisfyingly filling and warm, a sweet treat that you wouldn't be able to handle every day, but is the perfect saccharine touch every now and then. Rental Family is that kind of dessert movie. It's warm and wholesome and sweet. It can even border on being a little too sweet at times, but there's just enough flavor complexity underneath to prevent the sweetness from ever becoming overwhelming. Instead, it's just a bright, life-affirming movie. There's no question that Rental Family possesses a fairly eye-catching premise. It's the story of a washed-up American actor living in Japan, named Philip, whose career has been reduced to a series of auditions and small nothing parts or embarrassing commercials. That is, until a role as sad American, at what turns out to be a very real funeral, introduces him to the world of rental families. It may sound like something crafted for a movie, but Japanese rental family services are a real thing, where people hire specialized actors as surrogate stand-ins, as mourners, as parents or other family members, as friends or admirers. Once the introductory and often quite funny elements of this concept are established, the film settles into following Philip's life as a rental actor, jumping almost episodically among his interactions with his various clients. Philip remains the primary connective thread among these stories, but it does impart a slightly disjointed and formulaic feel to the movie, especially when certain emotional plot beats seem to converge and conveniently reach a dramatic head in all of the episodic client storylines at the same time. Despite these structural hang-ups, Rental Family is still a relatively well-paced movie that remains engaging even through its more conventionally predictable moments. And why is that? Because Brendan Fraser plays the role of Philip. This is a character whose whole business is lies and deception and the perpetuation of artifice, and yet he's so tenderly sincere. There's not a drop of malice in what he's doing, and in fact, he's quite uncomfortable with the rental scenario until he sees the positive impact it has on so many people's lives. As his co-worker tells him, it isn't a lie to many of these people. It's an opportunity for something. So, it's no surprise that Brendan Fraser can act. After all, the man did win a Best Actor Oscar a couple years ago, but this wholesome and warm movie feels like it was tailor-made for him. He's both entertaining and endearing here. He puts his comedic skills to use with funny line delivery and even funnier situational humor, which elicits an assortment of wonderfully amusing facial reactions from him throughout the movie. But this is a comedy drama, so there are a lot of emotional, more downbeat moments as well. And Fraser is such a strong, empathetic actor that he can make the audience deeply feel whatever they should be feeling in a given moment, often with just eye or face acting. The premise of this movie is interesting, but this is the kind of story that really hinges on the emotion and likability of its main character, and Fraser absolutely nails the perfectly balanced blend required for this to work. He's got an innate lovable sweetness to him, but manages to keep everything reined in just enough so it doesn't get too sappy. Brendan Fraser is perfect for this role, and I honestly couldn't imagine anybody else who would be better suited for it than him. Rental Family is the kind of movie where tone and approach matters. This is the story of a man infiltrating the lives of others, hired to pose as a friend, a father, a husband. That on its own is kind of creepy. I mean, with a few tweaks, this could have easily been a horror movie, or at least a cautionary tale about the lengths people are willing to go to publicly present a life very different from their actual reality. But that is not what this movie is. We have already established that this is a sweet movie that takes a more wholesome approach. It's not entirely lighthearted, but it's still a very positive, feel-good movie that'll make you appreciate your family a little more, even if your family isn't actually family. Because this is a movie about the importance of connection. It's about loneliness and the desire for somebody to remind you that you really exist. Much like the neighboring windows Philip longingly peers into at night, his rental family job offers him a glimpse into the lives of other people. But rather than just observing, he's now actively participating. Which is great for connection's sake, but starts to blur the line between reality and artifice. This, of course, becomes a source of conflict in the film, but it presents an interesting point for the audience to ponder. Just because something isn't real, that doesn't mean you won't have a real emotional response to it. Alright, let's talk about the pros and cons. Pro number one is definitely Brendan Fraser. This is his first leading role since his Oscar win for The Whale, and he might just be in the awards conversation again this year. Maybe. I honestly couldn't imagine anybody better suited to this role than the endearing and entertaining Brendan Fraser. He plays all aspects of this character extremely well. You buy him as this lonely, washed-up actor, but he's also extremely funny, really nailing the situational humor with perfectly accompanied facial reactions. And then the sweetness and heartfelt emotion? Yeah, he's got that down too. He just offers up a wonderful, well-balanced blend that really drives the film and makes it what it is. The second pro is how sweet this movie is. This sweetness is, of course, in large part due to the previous pro, but Fraser's presence and performance aren't exclusively responsible. Rental Family is a very endearing, life-affirming movie. It's wholesome and warm and feels like a big hug of sentimental life lessons that you don't mind hearing. It trends a bit saccharine at times, but the underlying themes, some interesting plot choices, and of course Brendan Fraser's lovable performance help to prevent it from ever crossing the line to sappy or overly sentimental. On the con side, the biggest issue is the structure. Once Philip and the rental family agency are established, this movie becomes a bit episodic as we move in and out of the lives of his various clients. Philip remains the focus and is the connective glue that holds all these disparate pieces together, but when combined with the life lessons vibe of the film, the structure starts to feel forced. The emotional beats of these client stories, and specifically the impacts that they have on Philip, start to coincide and really temporally line up a little too conveniently. It works for the emotional and thematic side of the story, but kind of pulls you out of the movie a bit as the genre conventions in the script start to show through. Before I give you my rating and recommendations, I want to remind you that if you're interested in buying Rental Family, or any of the other films I mentioned today, I do have affiliate links for all of them in the description below. I get a small commission from anything you buy using one of my links, so I'd really appreciate it if you use them if you're on the market for any of these movies, or anything else. I'm gonna give Rental Family 3.5 out of 5 paws. It's got some structural discrepancies and might induce a cavity or two, but this is a sentimental crowd pleaser about loneliness, empathy, and finding connection. Brendan Fraser endearingly shines in this emotional and wholesomely warm dramedy. Seriously, I can't imagine anybody better suited to this role than him. I would recommend Rental Family to anybody looking for a sweet but still entertaining and thoughtful dramedy. It's got a fun premise, which is sure to capture people's interest, but then it's able to deliver on the whole spectrum of emotions in a way that'll, at least periodically, be relatable to almost anybody. And of course, anybody who wants an endearing, funny, and utterly lovable Brendan Fraser performance is certainly in for a sweet treat. If you liked Rental Family, I would recommend Family Romance LLC. This Werner Herzog film approaches a similar premise in a decidedly different kind of way. This movie also focuses on a rental family actor posing as the father to a girl who can't remember her real dad. But rather than being a super sweet, life-affirming movie, this takes a more paranoid, darker look at the impact of artifice on human connection. If you'd like another great Brendan Fraser performance, you'll definitely want to watch The Whale, the role that earned him a Best Actor Oscar. Fraser plays a reclusive, morbidly obese teacher who's trying to reconnect with his estranged daughter. This movie is deeply uncomfortable, and certainly not a feel-good go-to, but Fraser's heart-achingly raw and emotional performance is worth it. And if you'd prefer to step out of all this dark heaviness and back into the sweet light, you might want to check out Paddington. Here, we've got another tale of a character living abroad in search of connection. Like Rental Family, this is an endearingly, almost overly sweet and life-affirming movie. Unlike Rental Family, this focuses on a small, anthropomorphic, marmalade-loving bear. Alright, a couple questions for you guys. Number 1, have you seen Rental Family? If so, what'd you think of it? And number 2, if you could hire Brendan Fraser to play any role in your life, what would it be? Be sure to leave your answers in the comments below so we can get a discussion going. Alright, so if you got some enjoyment, insight, or information on this review, I'd appreciate it if you'd hit that like button. And if you haven't done so already, please hit subscribe or add it to see more videos like this. Till next time, this has been Alyssa with Mainly Movies, the way life should be.